3D printing is easily one of my favorite things. I mean, I'm pretty sure I like my own cats more than I like 3D printing, but it's definitely near the top. Thanks to that mild obsession, it features in so many of my projects and videos, and over the years I've become much more of an expert in it than I honestly ever expected. I love sharing my knowledge and thoughts about 3D printing. So of course when Angus of Maker's Muse restarted the hashtag 3D printing on YouTube trend and tagged me in his video, I had to join in. The rules are simple. Answer the 5 questions in a video, upload that video to YouTube, and use hashtag 3D printing on YouTube either in the title or description. Anyone can join in on this, and you can mix up the questions as well if you'd like. You can also just leave your answers in a comment below if video making isn't your style. I will be tagging 2 more 3D printing YouTubers to make their own video at the end of this, but before that, first question. When did you first hear about 3D printing? I wasn't a part of the 3D printing community quite as early as some folks were. In fact, when the first iteration of these questions were making the rounds 8 years ago, I was probably just learning about 3D printing for the first time. That said, I very clearly remember my first encounter with 3D printing all those years ago, and I have one of my oldest friends, Josh, to thank for the exposure. I couldn't tell you exactly what the printer was, only that it was quite large, probably Core XY, and had a pretty slick black outer casing. At least, this is what I remember of it. Memories kind of suck. Regardless, I was enamored with the concept and probably asked a million questions or so about it. It would be a few more years before I got my own 3D printer, but the seeds were officially sown. There was no going back. Question 2, I'm changing up a bit. New question 2. What's the most challenging 3D print you've done? I feel like I've done a lot of challenging 3D prints and projects, partially because I get bored easily and I might have a problem. I love printing in materials that are less common and also tend to be more difficult to print. I think the most challenging print I've done didn't look that complicated from the outside, but was a struggle due to the material. I use an incredibly soft TPU, which is a flexible filament, all the way down to a 70A Shore rating to print the wearable enclosure for my clean air necklace project. The design had to be cut into pieces to even be able to print it at all, because there was no way that TPU was going to play nice with supports. For those of you unfamiliar with printing TPU, the softer the material, the more it is like trying to shove wet spaghetti into a tiny hole. Too much grip from the extruder gears and the filament squirts away from the throat of the hot end and gets tangled up really badly. Too little grip and not enough filament gets melted, resulting in under extrusion or no extrusion at all. You have to print painfully slow, and it can sometimes take a lot of tweaking to find the best settings to print it. All of that said, it's totally worth it, and the things you can do with soft TPU are kind of amazing. The clean air necklace was no exception to this. Question 3, do you view 3D printing as a hobby or tool, and why? 3D printing is definitely different things to different people, which is actually one of the things I kind of love about it. For some, it is just a part of their toolbox, whereas for others, it's so much more and becomes a passion unto itself. As much as I love 3D printing and could totally imagine folks thinking it's a hobby for me, I do actually see it more as a tool in my toolbox. I have absolutely done mods and alterations to my printers, but those have always been a means to better results or reliability, and not something I actively seek out just for the joy of it. I am very much a person who works across a range of mediums, and my projects often contain a slew of making techniques. 3D printing is often a big part of that, but that's because for me, it's an incredibly powerful and versatile tool. At the end of the day though, still a tool. Question 4, what is the best 3D printer according to you? I am a firm believer that there's a glove for every hand, and not everyone has the same needs in a 3D printer. What is the best printer for one person absolutely is not going to be the best printer for the next person, which is why this question is meant to be individualized. That said, I have learned through experience that I am incredibly well suited to Prusa printers, which is why I keep getting them. While Prusa printers might not be the industry leader in any one specific aspect of 3D printing, as an all-rounder, I found them hard to beat. I don't just need speed or quality or flexibility with printing options. I need all of these things in a printer. I love my Mark IV, and it handles 90% of my printing these days, regardless of material or what I need it for. That said, I haven't tried the Mark IV's yet, and I have a feeling that when I do, it might be my new favorite. Question 5. What is your #1 tip for beginners? I still very much remember being a beginner at 3D printing and feeling hugely overwhelmed by it all. Not just because I knew little about it, but also because there weren't many people doing it that looked like me. It still felt kind of niche and gatekept, and I often kept to myself because of it until I felt capable of holding my own. 3D printing has become so much more commonplace, and with that, the community of users has also grown. Not only have printers themselves improved over over the years, but so have the places you can go to learn and ask for help. My number one tip for beginners is to get out there and learn a little bit about 3D printing from the great folks out there creating interesting content. And not to be afraid to ask for help when you encounter issues. And if you find people being judgy or weird about it with you, then look elsewhere. Gatekeeping isn't cool, and you don't have to put up with it. I promise there are lots of good folk out there. That's it. That's my 5 questions. Now, I want to hear your answers to the questions, but I also want to tag 2 cool, interesting folk who use 3D printing to make awesome things, because I know they'll have great answers as well. The first is my buddy Zach Friedman, who, like me, uses 3D printing alongside electronics and other things to make things that are totally mind-blowing. He's also done a lot of 3D printing deep dives as well, and frankly, he knows what he's talking about. The second is the incredible Bridget of Variable Seams, who might just know more about TPU than I do, and uses it to make modular, wearable fashion projects. She's newer on YouTube, so make sure you give her a follow. Definitely drop your answers in the comments below, because I'm always fascinated to hear more about how folks view and think about 3D printing. Y'all are part of what makes this community great, and so I hope you feel empowered to get involved. I hope you enjoyed this little break from the usual project videos, and do let me know if you want to see more things like this in the future. Otherwise, hang tight, because the next build video is coming really, really soon. Stay awesome, and in the meantime, keep creating.